Native communities throughout the continent have long traveled between each other for many reasons. For interpersonal and government-to-government relationships, commerce, trade, culture, ceremonies, food, and family, and so much more. Specifically, in our Puget Sound region, the waterways in our greater Seattle area have been deemed the highways of our ancestors by the local Coast Salish tribes. Despite massive historical, cultural, and physical changes that have occurred to the local landscape and the supplanting of community villages around the waterways by a metropolitan city over time, our native people still hold mobility and the ability to meet together critically important to maintaining and preserving many intrinsic elements of value to overall native cultural ways and lifestyles, for many of the same reasons our ancestors did. Students and alumni of the Seattle-based nonprofit Red Eagle Soaring Native Youth Theater have utilized methods of transportation provided by the Seattle Department of Transportation, King County Metro, and HopeLink for the entirety of its close to 30-year history.
For the light rail system is pretty reliable for my usage, especially when emergencies involve me trying to get to where I need to go. Before, I would always have to take the bus systems to get to downtown, and that would take like an extra 20 minutes. With the light rail system, I can get there in 8 minutes. Sometimes the bus system is not on time. It'll either be early or be late, but that's pretty normal for any bus system. But for a lot of my cases, it was always early, and I'll be like, dang it. However, to get over that challenge, I actually got the one-away bus app that Seattle Metro provides. It actually tells me when the bus systems are coming right on time.
When I was in high school, you had to look up the trip planner on a computer and figure it out that way, which it was easy to do, but you couldn't take it with you. That was back before we just had everything on our phones. So I would have to either write it down or just try to remember what number I needed to get on. It did help a lot though, because it tells you exactly where to get on and off, where to transfer, etc., what bus numbers you're taking, exactly what times they leave. But now, because of the growth of technology, we have all that information in our phones. We have apps that we can use. Literally, there's a trip planning app. You just put your information in, where you're going, where you're leaving from, and it'll tell you exactly what to do, exactly how much it's going to cost. And so I think it has gotten much better in the last 10 years.
I'm Elise, I'm 15. I've been in Red Eagle Soaring for 1 year, and I live in Redmond. Last year, or maybe it was a year before that, but I had to get from my house to Daybreak Star for some summer activities, so taking a bus from my house to there was something I had to do for a couple days. And then I take the transit to get from my neighborhood over here in Seattle. Sometimes I'll just get really nervous when I'm on the bus just because I'm scared I might miss my stop. But then I remember that there's other people also going to the same place. So it's kind of calming to know I'm not the only one who's going to a certain place.
So one thing I learned about SDOT and the public transit or transport community is that there's many different types of buses that you can go on. I didn't know that there was buses, different types of buses like Rapid Ride, Sound Transit. There's also King County Metro, and that's something that I learned during the ambassador training.
For longtime community member and executive director of United Indians of All Tribes Foundation, Michael Tooley, public transportation plays a vital role in the cultural activities as well as it presents challenges to daily life at Daybreak Star Cultural Center in Discovery Park.
This is Mike Tooley. I'm currently the Executive Director of the United Indians of All Tribes Foundation, and I'm actually from the Yakama Nation. We serve clients who have to sometimes have to travel out here. Sometimes it's a young mother, a family of 3, and sometimes it can be difficult during the winter. If it's snowing or if it's freezing rain, it can be very problematic. Particularly, it does impact some of our events, major events that we sponsor. And sometimes we'll have powwows here actually, and other events where there may be thousands of people here. If you're talking about events where we have as many as 10,000 here on a weekend, and the buses are not adjusted, and there's not the runs aren't increased, you're going to have problems of people getting out here in a timely fashion. If you look at a map of Seattle, natives are sporadically spread out throughout the city. So there's no one real centralized location as if you compare us to the African American or Latino or even Asian sector. There's always a conglomeration of them in a district. Whereas Native Americans, we're not in that, we don't fit in within that category. Usually our population exists throughout the city, so there's no one central way to approach it, how do we maximize services for Native American community that we may work with.
In modern times, public transportation is vital to helping us achieve these things. Students of Red Eagle Soaring took part in their first ever Youth Ambassadors training with SDOT, King County Metro, and Hope Link.
And a lot of my work is to educate people about using public transit so that they feel more confident and more equipped. If I pay with my Orca card, because it's accepted by all these regional transit agencies, I can tap my card on the Metro bus, ride it for let's say 30 minutes, and then I get on, before I get on the light rail, I tap my card again. You have to tap before you get on and after you get off because the fares are usually calculated based on how far you travel. The cost of the fare varies between $2.25 and $3.25, depending on how far I travel. So if I only tapped at the beginning and didn't tap when I get off, I'll get charged the entire distance of the light rail.
Seattle public transportation in general has played a huge part in having our programs be successful and keeping our students coming back because they could easily get there even if we weren't able to provide them a ride.
I appreciate the time that I'm given to really prepare myself to where I need to go, but before I actually head onto the bus, knowing that I can get there pretty quickly and accessibly. But yes, I really value the transportation here in Seattle because it has really improved its accessibility to people.
Since time immemorial, Native peoples in the Puget Sound region and from all areas of the continent have highly valued their mobility to meet together, to visit one another, to strengthen relationships together through negotiations, activities, and ceremonies, to foster cultural traditions and shared values. These interactions provide balance, guidance, and strength as tribal nations and families pave the way for the coming generations. In Seattle, public transportation figures to be a key tool for members of our Native community to continue to come together, share together, and survive and thrive in today's rapidly advancing world.